Good evening and welcome to the We Are Rise Show. I'm your host, Brett C. Collins. Hope you're doing well on this glorious Wednesday. Yes, it is. President Trump was at a rally today in Kentucky, stumping for, I forget the guy's name that's running against Thomas Massey. I think it's fantastic. A lot of interesting stuff there. I didn't get to see all of it. There was some good commentary, and I didn't really put any of it in the show. I didn't have time per se because tonight's show is nothing's real anymore. AI's war on truth. There's a lot of articles that were out because the news today was just up and down, intermittent with a lot of interesting stuff. But I really wanted to go a different direction today with stuff that we can catch up on and not so focused on the war per se, focused on the meme war that is out there, but the truth perception of the perception management that is taking place right now on X. You kind of question, is this war really real? I mean, you have to think about it, and we'll break that down tonight. Relocated for security. Yes, we're going to talk about the AG. That's Miss Pam Bondi. She's been moved on to a military base with many other people for threats and doxing and all these sick son of a bitches that hate her. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's sad in some way. Border gag, dial it down. We're going to talk about the White House's commentary that sparked kind of a backlash, especially in MAGA, that they're telling GOP representatives that are running to tone it down with the catch and release, I guess, with the dangerous deporting and reporting. That doesn't sound too good, and I understand why they're trying to thread that needle, but we'll talk about it later. Welcome in my co-host, Marshall Smith. What's going on?
Not much, man. I mean, we're back in this kind of summer mode now. I think Pam Bondi's there because something's getting ready to probably happen. Because it could be,
It's
could
not
be
just
not.
her. You got Pete Hegseth, you
Yeah,
got Marco Rubio, you got
I
what's her
think
face
they're
was there too.
preparing for something
You think
because it's
so?
just been building up.
Eh,
You look at the Iran thing, Venezuela, the Cuba. It's just constantly ramping up. But who knows? We'll see.
well, I don't know. I mean, the other people have been moved on to this free military
Yeah,
base, and we
yeah.
don't even know what this is per se. We're going to go over it. There's a lot of oddities. I know there's a warning out in California about drones carrying bombs, dropping on places and stuff. I mean, this has become a spectator sport per se. Yeah, it has, and everything that we see and witness and watch and comment on, it's just you got to question a lot of the irregularities of this. Is it as real as we think it is, or as it appears to be, or we're just we're nestled in to multiple psyops, overlapping, overflowing. I'm not really sure. What's up, Rizzo 9300 over here on YouTube? Yes, we are. Please share and subscribe over there. Hello, fellas. Good afternoon. From Pa Rump, Nevada. Oh, okay, great, excellent. I've never heard of that area, but that's awesome. Is that anywhere near Reno? Welcome in Pill.net and Rise Brigade. How you doing over there? Hello over here, True Turn, Nog Dog. Good to see everybody on Rumble. Let's say hello to Wood USA. Thank you for the 217 gold pills. What's up? Yes, good to see you, Sausage Lawns. How you doing, buddy? Patty B, what's up? Miss Turnup, how you doing? Look at everybody here tonight. Thank you, Thea, for the 700 gold pills. Music's on. Good to see you. Thank you for the cookie. Who else is here tonight? Is everybody popping in? All right, everybody's all excited and stuff. I like some of the memes here. Everybody's like all excited. That's great. I'm glad. So like, share, and subscribe. You know what to do. Drop us gold pills. Help us out. Support the channel. You want to help out Marshall, Ko-Fi.com/surfdog74. Yeah, let's get into I really want to start with this because it's not that the news was, I think, slow. I think we're being let's just say packaged in. You got the war going on. It's supposed to end by April or Easter. That's fine. Whatever. I don't even care about it anymore. That's how much I don't even care. I don't care about the psyops that are involved, the agitprop that is going through the media that we hit a school. Don't give a shit about that. There's no independent verification of that anyway. So I'm not going to listen to fake news CNN or fake news this, or I'm going to listen to Iranians. Don't care about that nonsense either. It's irrelevant. So I just want to get to the stuff that I think that was what Thomas and I covered kind of last night. We were kind of making fun of this, of the discussions about, weekend in Iran or weekend at Mojadabi, because this guy has not been seen since he's been elected. I think he's dead. They say he was injured. I saw a lot of things, but the satire spreads online as Iranians await a new leader unveiling. The guy is dead. He's not around. Yeah, Parhump is near Vegas. Oh, okay. Thanks, Jolene. Good to see you. Thank you. Art Bell lived there. Wow. A high strangeness. Yeah, that's one of his favorite sayings and stuff. Yep. Oh, that's great. That's really great. But I want to talk about this. Let's talk about Mochabi Khomeini. He's they had cardboard cutouts of this guy. I mean, again, this is the psyop. What I'm saying is that this is what's being presented on X, the dark humor that's all over the place. It's really dark comedic humor that is really taking place about this. Yes, the war is real from what we can see, but to understand this and break this down, listen to this. Within hours of Mochabi Khomeini being named Iran's new supreme leader, state institutions responded with solemn messages of loyalty while Persian language social media filled with satire as many Iranian users reacted with disbelief, political frustration, and dark humor. Yeah. Rather than confronting the official narrative head on many posts mocked the opaque and unusual circumstance of Mochabi's rise. Mochabi's rise, especially the emergence of a leader who, for many Iranians, remains almost entirely unseen. The jokes fall broadly into several recurring themes. A leader no one has been seen. Yeah, I mean, many jokes focus on the Khomeini's near total absence from the public life. Unlike most senior political figures, Mochabi has rarely appeared in speeches or interviews, and only a handful of recordings of his voice are publicly known. And you don't even know if they're using some AI thing to record his information and his stuff out there based upon this. Some users turn this into a technological joke. One widely shared post said, "This isn't even enough audio of Mochabi Khomeini's for AI to train on to make a fake voice of him." Wow. Others simply pointed out to the unusual situation more directly. We are entering the second day of Mochabi Khomeini's leadership, and still nobody has seen him. Several posts frame the absence through the humor about remote work, a concept familiar to many of our younger Iranian users. If you're looking to work remotely, the best job is supreme leader of the Islamic Republic. This is funny. Nobody asks where you are and what you're doing, or even whether you're alive. Another post used religious imagery to exaggerate the idea that has remained invisible. We're in a situation where the appearance of Mahdi is more likely than the appearance of Mochabi. Mahdi, Messianic figure awaiting in Shiite Islam, frequently appears in Iranian satire as a way of describing events considering extremely unlikely. Another viral joke suggested Mochabi's leadership was almost abstract. In the phrase Mochabi's leadership, the literal device being used is personification. Only known quote. Another recurring joke centers on how the little Mochabi Khomeini has publicly said. One of the few widely circulated videos attributed to him shows him announcing his religious class would be canceled. This short clip now has been a punchline, one of the most summarized situations that are out there. The only existing quote from Imam Mochabi Khomeini next week will be "no class." I look, there's some of these things that are funny. I think it's just hilarious, but this really spells out the oddities, I think, that are let's just say that fracture this war in so many ways. I mean, I've seen a lot of people saying that this war already happened and we're just catching up to seeing this now. It's just weird in some way because all the videos are fake. Okay, regarding at least a lot of the videos on big name accounts were fake. They were extrapolated out, taken, spread around, and then Grok went through a lot of them, and they didn't make any sense. I mean, there was a lot of them where Marines were captured, that we bombed this building, we didn't bomb this. I mean, who's to say that the actual attack of this elementary school wasn't done by them? And the video, there's no video footage that they put up. They just shown rumble of the building that's already been decimated. Who decimated? We don't know. But again, this is what I'm saying about the propaganda. You can't buy any of this stuff that's out there today. And what is appearing on X has gotten worse and worse. And so again, I ask, when President Trump says the war is over, there's no targets tape, we're going to cover that. What does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, what are we seeing here right now? There's some funny AI slop out there for sure at We Are Rise. Yes, I know that, sausage launcher. Marshall, your thoughts? I'm going to go through a relevant discussion about all this dirt slop, AI slop, whatever you want to call breadcrumb slop. I've heard all this stuff. But that's why you got to be careful about on X, because a lot of the stuff was superimposed, AI generated, did not make any sense. And here we are right now, kind of just like the war is going to be over very soon. No more targets to hit. What are we actually going through?
Well, on a more serious note, I found something out today that we got verified on Monday night. Because on Monday night, we talked about the Khomeini family having ties with their money ties to London. We have been verified, Brett, from our talk Monday night. They have direct connections, this Khomeini family, to London, big time. And that was confirmed. I wanted to send it to you, but it was too late in the day. I wouldn't be saying if it wasn't verified. So I wanted to get that out. So that's pretty cool. We definitely got it right, and it makes sense. This guy, like now on the more satirical part of it, yeah, it is kind of humorous in a weird kind of way, but I don't, like you said, I don't know if this guy's even a lot, they're making like videos and audio recordings. How, what is that? That doesn't prove anything.
But that also goes to the speculation about the war and how we see it. Is it as real as it appears? It seems too easy, does it not? It seems like
it was planned.
Yes,
Almost.
not only like it was a plan, that it's been like, it's out of a movie like Battleship. I mean, you can even see how they're targeting all this, how they're laying this out. Look at these memes. I want to show you some of the stuff. Now, I'm going to have a little fun with this, but I want people to understand is that I'm not really sure anymore about how I view this war, if it's even real to begin with. That's what I'm trying to say. Were people injured? Yeah. Were people killed? Yeah. But what I'm saying is, how much of it is what we're seeing is entirely not just AI generated? And that's alarming. I mean, think about how much we don't see about the war regarding Ukraine. How much we don't see about that Russia-Ukraine war. You never see anything about that. Why is that? And you know what? And then you see some things that were superimposed and then were created and that were fake and made up. So it's not there.
Cars and buildings, and then there's pictures.
There's nothing there. But for this,
yeah.
there's video footage. There's cameras all over the place. There's missiles up. You see ships. They're releasing this. Why don't they release that? I don't know what it is, but there's something off here, and it makes me question everything that I'm seeing right now. And here it is. I want to play this. This is funny.
Welcome back. And joining me now is the new Supreme Leader of Iran, Mojtaba Khamenei. Mr. Supreme Leader, welcome to Meet the Press.
Thank you very much, woman. Thank you for having me. I'm totally real.
Thank you very much for being here. I have to ask you the big question on everyone's mind. Who is in charge in Iran right now?
What are you talking about, woman? Can't you see me? I'm the new Supreme Leader. I'm totally real, by the way.
Well, you kind of look like you're made out of cardboard, sir.
I told you the Americans would notice, you idiot.
That's what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? You see the point what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to make a connection here saying we all know that the media is fake news. They make this shit up. They get their talking points. They all generate the same type of stuff. Who's to say that what's behind this, that they're being given this and forced to display this information up? And all of it is just slop. It's just garbage in general. I just think that's one example of what I'm showing you. I want to show you a couple other things that were hilarious. And I want to make the point about what I'm saying is that not everything that we're seeing and we're understanding is what it seems. And I know this is comical. I know this is humor and stuff. But, to think that Russia is talking to whoever is in control over there, I find that highly suspect. And who is Russia talking to? Who is behind the scenes, propping up cardboard figures, all right, that are hiding because they don't want to get shot or they want to get blown up and killed. Watch this. This is another.
Supreme Leader of the Islamic Republic of Iran is a great crime. As the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I pledge that this atrocity will not go unanswered. With all our strength and determination, we will make the perpetrators of this crime regret the dawn.
The assassination of the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran is a great crime. As the new Ayatollah of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I pledge.
Hello? New Ayatollah here. Look, I really didn't want this job, okay? I just joined the government like 3 weeks ago, and I was sitting in a cubicle way off in the corner, and next thing I know, some folks talking across the office are all like, let's get Ahmed to do it. No one will miss him. I heard you guys. So, yeah, I'm just hoping we can all be cool here. There's no need for things to get all... Oh.
Keeper, uh-oh.
False alarm. It's just my new pager. It's the latest model. You can even play Snake on it. In fact...
So I'm the new Ayatollah, and I know the drill.
That's funny as shit. I mean, honestly, this is just comical in so many ways, and I'm just questioning the veracity of everything that I'm seeing that pertains to this war in so many ways. Let me bring up the CNN article, and I'll bring up another article and then we'll get to more of the memes because they're just hilarious. But fake explosions, fake missiles, fake troops, AI videos and images of Iran war spread widely on social media. See this one? This one's an AI generated that soldiers were captured. After Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, the social media was littered with crude fakes that were presented as fresh images of the war, but either Photoshop photos or mislabeled clips taken from the video games, movies, past incidents, and unrelated news coverage. Those are the kind of old-fashioned fakes that are now spreading again during the war against Iran. Yeah, not too much as they were back then, but this is definitely heavily, let's just say, bombarded on X left and right. 10 years ago, Hannah Farid at the University of California, Berkeley, professor specializing in digital forensics, there'll be like one or two fake things out there. They're getting debunked pretty fast. Now you see hundreds of them, and they're really realistic. Yeah. Farid added, it's not just realistic, it's landing. It's landing hard. People believe it, and they're amplifying it. Keep your eyes on that. Keep understanding what I'm talking about, like this one. So, I mean, that's the problem. It's deciphering and discerning what videos are real and what's not. That's why it's very hard these days that if you want to go in and share information, you have to make sure you verify it before you touch it. Because if you don't know that you're spreading some type of herpy AI video, well, that's going to spread, catch fire, and you're going to get blowback on that. So what has changed in the last year or so is the generative AI that has become so much more widely accessible, said BBC Verify senior journalist Shanine Sarichia, a prominent debunker of war-related fakes. And it's now possible to create very believable videos and images appearing to show significant war incident that is hard to detect the untrained or naked eye. Now, think of Wag the Dog. Think about Wag the Dog in general and how they got a movie producer and a director and all this stuff to make up a war, a fake war, to generate a fake war, video footages and images and splice it all in. Think of that. I'm not saying it's any dissimilar, but a lot of the videos that are put up are entirely that. Fake videos and images experts like Sarah Ritzta have identified as AI created and racked up millions, tens of millions of views on social media platforms in 2 weeks, and people are making money on top of that. One fake video shows a fictional barrage of Iranian missiles supposedly striking Tel Aviv. Second fake video depicts panicked people fleeing a supposed Iranian attack on an airport in Tel Aviv. A third fake video purports to show captured U.S. Special Forces personally being held by gunpoint by Iranian troops. Another fake video claims to show clips from a security footage of Iranian faculties being blown up. 3 of the clips appear to be AI, while 1 is real. But from last year, yet another fake video depicts imagery convoys of U.S. troops on the ground in Iran. 1 more fake looks like footages of downed U.S. planes being paraded around through Tehran. Here's one. This is the Tel Aviv airport that they had AI generated. Phony still images that appear AI created, meanwhile claim to depict a U.S. military base in Iraq, embassy in Saudi Arabia, Al Khamenei lying dead under rubble. I remember that. I saw that one. Iranians mourning dead civilians. I saw that one. And posted a fake satellite image purporting to show damage to a U.S. military base in Bahrain. I saw that one as well. There was one footage. I think it was in Dubai, where it was hit something in Dubai, like a hotel or something. Apparently, that was fake. So, despite daily debunking efforts from the people like Sarah Ritzla, new fakes are popping up faster than they can be swatted down, and they're often like enough that the average person scrolling through their feed can't quickly spot that they're phony. And that's the point about this propaganda. All right, that's the problem. I'm not going to go through this because I got another article. Marshall, your thoughts on how bad it's gotten, and how much does this? Let's put it this way: how much is this a gut check for a lot of people out there that are, let's just say, hesitant about the war, that are disconcerting about the images that we see? Is this agitprop and propagandist fake videos a tool to make sure that it blows back onto the people that are supporting this? Does it divide and conquer more and more people to the MAGA base, or to the America First, or to everybody else in between that's trying to undercut this in some way, to throw shade on this, and also profit off of putting out this imagery and suggesting an analysis that's, let's put it this way, that's not real?
Well, you've got to have, I mean, at the very least, you've got to have some kind of a storyline that people can wrap their heads around and just kind of follow along. And it just seems, are there the bombs that got their all their ships? I believe all that was real, but were they already set up to do that, and so that innocent civilians would not get killed? I believe that's very possible. So that this whole deal was already planned out well in advance. I mean, I'm not saying it is or it isn't, but it's highly possible, because Ukraine, there's a lot of that same kind of shit over in Ukraine. You see all this horrible stuff, and then meanwhile you see them shopping and dining on the street at the dining places. Right. So the only way to know, excuse me, is if you're there. That's the only way you're going to know it for 100%.
Right.
So you've got to kind of take everything with a grain of salt to a degree, but I do believe that it was possibly agreed to that, look, we're just going to take all your ships, et cetera, and we're going to take them out, get everybody out of the way. We're coming in. Something to that effect. Maybe not, maybe so, but I think it's very possible.
According to the detail, this is another one from WPN and WebPro News, fake AI generated war content flooding X. Listen to this. Okay, this is where I want to get into. I'm not going to read all of it, but I just want to give you an encapsulation of all this. According to a detailed investigation by Wired, and Wired has a paywall, so I couldn't read the article. I actually read some of it, but then it cut off. AI generated content showing fake explosions, fabricated military strikes, entirely fictional war scenes have spread rapidly across X. Some posts have garnered tens of millions of impressions. Many of the accounts posting the material appear to be monetized through X creators' revenue sharing program. This is what I'm getting to. The monetization model is fueling the fire. Elon Musk's decision to share ad revenue with creators-based engagement metrics has created a direct financial incentive to produce viral content regardless of accuracy, sensational AI-generated war imagery, dramatic emotional charge, and easy to produce is tailor-made for this system. As Wire reports, accounts posting this fabricated content are often repeat offenders, churning out synthetic media across multiple geopolitical topics to maximize views and payouts. This isn't new, but the scale is getting worse. Yes, X's community notes feature, which relies heavily on crowdsourced fact-checking, has flagged some of these posts, but the corrections consistently arrive hours or even days after the content has already gone viral. That's the thing that's problematic. By then, the damage is done. It's already spread. Screenshots getting shared across platforms. People form opinions based on the images of events that never happened, and the accounts behind it all collect their checks. this gap is widening. What makes this moment different from the previous waves online, tools like Midjourney, DALL-E, and various other open source image generators have become sophisticated enough that casual users can't really distinguish between generated AI from real photographs. Video generation tools, while still imperfect, are improving fast. My concern about how I see this is that that's the problem. Like, getting your news, all right, on X may be one thing, but if it's tagged and toggled with video clippings and stuff that seem implausible or impractical in some way from a news that aren't from a news feed that you think that is actually being spun, you have to be careful in some way why people are creating this and why they're allowed to spread this in some way. This is a problem. I really think so. That's why I say don't get your news from X. You shouldn't get your news from X. You should be utilizing Yandex. You should be going through all the news channels on Yandex, all right, and scope it out there that are respected in some way, that you'll be able to filter it out. That's my problem, what's concerning about X, because a lot of these people are making so much money on this, and they're at one point using it to not only separate and divide MAGA versus people that are not that are America first, or people in between that basically, don't stand by the war or have a different point of view about everything. And they're making money off of dividing, conquering you, Marshall. And this is a good example of why X has become problematic with allowing this type of, agitprop that's all over the place. It's really disgusting if you think about it.
Well, and one thing at the beginning when we showed the cardboard guy and all those fake dudes that were up there, the thing about that is very important, is that when you get to a level in a war or a conflict like this, and you begin to mock their leadership, that is devastating to them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that really destroys their whole people that support them. It really puts them in such a point that they're like, that's a killer. I mean,
so you're saying this is, you think that there are people being paid to put this propaganda up on purpose to undercut and overwhelm the Iranian government or anybody else that's supporting the Iranian government that's watching this, I
think it's a combination of both. Some of the people are just doing it to laugh at these people,
right?
The leaders, the Khomeinis and the mullahs.
Mm-hmm.
That, and yeah, of course, there's people that are tagging along making money on it.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest thing is when you get to a point where you're mocking leadership of a country, that is very, very deadly to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's devastating. It's been done throughout history where when you get to that point, it's like you lose your support. When you start losing the support of the crowd that's following you, you're toast, man. And
Right.
now that we're at this level, like you said in the beginning, this is almost over.
Yeah, and these are funny memes. He's kind of quiet, but we're all getting along. Yes, I see the point of this mocking, and I'm okay with that. Totally fine with that. But I am concerned that when you're showing video footage of buildings being hit, let's just say bases or American troops that are being captured or whatever that are not true and stuff, and we had 150 per se that have been injured. 7 are dead. I think there's they say 14 that were injured went back to duty, active duty. I mean, these are funny memes, but they do have consequences. And
Yeah, it's powerful, man.
No, it is powerful because we all know that the whole thing is a charade. It's a fraud, that the government is falling and they're propping this up in some way. But it leads me to a greater question. And again, my inquiry about how I see and how I feel about the war overall. Can we argue in some way that a lot of the agitprop or propaganda or perception management that's coming out of the War Department, so to speak, in some way is not so dissimilar? I mean, President Trump said in like less than 10 days, we've eradicated almost 90% of all their stuff. We dropped the Moab that we were shooting 200 missiles a day or something like that, 200 missiles, and so we had to drop a Moab. I just think that in some ways that we're not being told everything, and we're also being fortified, and we're also being I think, somehow gilded with some moniker of in between, some truth and some fiction in between, about like the whole concept of like, say they were really close to nuclear weapons, and that's why we had to do it as President Trump is. I mean, they kept moving the line over and over again. And so we had to go and hit them. Well, you know what? That also, unless that's independently verified or they can prove that in some way, that reminds me of the WMDs in Iraq. Yeah. And so that's a very hard thing to swallow. I'm for the war. I get it. But how far was it that we're making that assertion as we're making WMDs? Did they have enrichment? Did they have missiles put together? They had a lot of other weapons. Yeah, sure shit they did. Did they have biologicals? All right. No one talks about the biologicals, the pathogens that they might have had, that might have been working on in some way. See, that would be an interesting discussion to hear. I haven't heard any of that talk. I've read a lot of, let's just say, period articles regarding that, but I haven't really gotten to that point, Marshall. And I'm wondering, it's that, are we just filling in the blanks with the rest of this stuff because it's comical and we moved on debating the whole war because it's almost over?
Yeah, the whole uranium thing, I really never bought any of that. Now, in the beginning, when it was like the Bush thing and all that, it was all about the money and the imperial, the British kingdom and all that. This is the way that where they're using the narrative, the same kind of similar nuclear uranium enrichment and all that. But this is actually a way that we're saying, no, Great Britain, you're done. You're out of the neighborhood. You're no longer controlling this whole deal over here. And I think that's really, really the most important part, is the separation, the cutting off of the British Empire from, I would say, Iran and Israel.
Yeah.
They've taken the control out of it. And that's what the main part of it is, I believe.
No, Super D says, thank you for the 117 gold pills. Like, nothing is real. Nothing is true either. Yes, I agree with that. Good point. Thank you, Thea, for the 900 gold pills, the cookie, another cookie, dropping 700 gold pills. Thank you so much. Music is on. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So let me get back to all this stuff. So we'll finish all on up this. I just want to cover this right now. Perth Now put this out. U.S. to release 117 million barrels of oil from a reserve. The U.S. will release 172 million barrels from its strategic petroleum reserve in a bid to reduce oil prices. U.S. Secretary Chris Wright said the move is part of a broader release of 400 million barrels to be by a 32-nation international agency. Let me blow this up a little bit more. But when you think about how much that is, let me just put it in context. All right, this 32-nation IEA, all right, 400 million barrels of oil, that gives you less than a week. Okay, maybe 5 days tops. Okay, 5-6 days. All right, and we're going to release 172 million barrels of oil for a strategic reserve in a bid to reduce the prices to soften the blow. That's probably 2 days tops. Okay, so that's what, to make sure the prices don't continue to go up. It's trading about 88 right now. So on the one hand, President Trump coming out and saying, hey, look, the war is ending. It's not going to continue on. It's going to ramp on down. We want to get off this ramp. It's an election year. You don't want to have gas prices this high. And they're recognizing that. They're trying to thread this needle. I could see it. So the IEA said a release backed up unanimously by 32 member countries, including Australia, in the sixth move is made since the creation in the 1970s. President Trump said the decision to release the oil from strategic reserves would substantially reduce oil prices. Okay. The release is aimed at preventing a further rise in prices and fears that Iranian attacks will continue to block Middle East exports. Yeah, because not a lot of these ships are going to go through. All right. And some ships were attacked just recently. So we don't know where we stand about how these things are going to play out. So again, the long-term speculation, and the problem is these speculators are going to try and drive up the price. And we don't know who these speculators are per se, but let's put it this way. If they get in charge of this, I mean, they could start shooting up the prices up to 150 to 200. And that's disconcerting. So you want to take it out of their hands. You want to give them something to hedge their bets on, all right, for a short term to keep the pricing low. I mean, it's just President Trump can tell them to knock it off. He can go to the oil companies. He can go to all the hedge funds and say, hey, look, all right, we know what you're doing. All right. You don't have to make this worse than it is. All right. And here, that's why they're showing them what they're doing for the short term, not for the long term. The emergency stocks will be made available to the market over a time frame that is appropriate to national circumstances of each member country. Think about that. Earlier, Trump said the local media interview in his nation would contribute a little bit from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I filled it up once. I'll fill it up again, but right now we'll reduce it a little bit, and that brings prices down. We have to get rid of this evil, and there's a great evil taking place in Iran, as you know. He said in an interview with Cincinnati's Local 12, oil prices gained nearly 5 cents on Wednesday. U.S. time as further attacks on ships in the Strait of Hormuz worsen supply disruption fears. Analysts have said that the pace of the daily IEA stock releases would matter as much as that it would not more than overall size. It would not move much more than overall size. If 100 million barrels were released over the next month, the daily pace would amount to 3.3 million barrels per day, a fraction of that disruption, about 20 million barrels per day. Look, all I'm saying is that this is for the short term, all right, to make sure the prices don't continue to trek higher because of the speculations and the fear regarding the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the oil comes out of that. And since they get 10 to 15% from there, that is China and stuff, maybe we'll have what? China buying from us. Interesting per se. Russia wants to get involved in the Middle East in some way. Now you could start to see all the countries wanting to vie in this in some way because of oil. And that's the bottom line. That's really what you need to see. And my concern about how it's being put out there from the speculation standpoint, you have to be careful with this stuff because people are going to roll with this, that my gas is $4.30 here, $4.50 here, this and that. And, you know, it's state by state. So you got to brace that. You got to think about the taxes. You got to think about the crude sweet oil that we already have. We have a new refinery I'm going to show you that's coming up. So it's not about that. And it's not about anything that do we have it or has it been dislocated? That's the problem. They're trying to suggest it's one thing when it's another, and it's not. All right. So the problem is that you might get people in the media that are ramping up these fears, as you see all over the place, to what? Drive the speculation up further and further. And that's why I say keep an eye on the stock market, look where it goes, and watch how the rates drop up and down. They drop within a day 32%. They went up 5 cents. So again, this is all based upon what the war is showing and how they're actually making or putting their finger or thumb on this and saying, yeah, it's going to be this or it's going to be that, Marshall.
That's why when Trump first came in office a year ago, that he topped off the reserves because he knew this was going to come. And when you have a war and you have a conflict or whatever, something situation like this, that is what the reserves are for during times of conflict, etc. So now he's using the reserves that he topped off, which is he was already planned. He planned it all. He knew it was coming, and he's like, okay, we're ready. Now we can go in. We can do this. This will soften the blow. You won't have. I mean, it's like 340 here now.
Well, we're not targeting. We're not talking about the Venezuelan oil that we're getting too.
We're talking about the good stuff. I mean,
right. And
so, and then this, like you're showing, is also part. Go ahead, man.
No, I know the Venezuelan oil that we're going to get that needs refining. And here it is. President Trump announces the first new U.S. oil refinery in 50 years to open in Brownsville, Texas. Is it open yet? It didn't say. President Donald Trump announces plans to open its first oil refinery in the States in 50 years, and it's in Brownsville. Trump stated that the project which is $300 billion funded with the help of Indian multinational conglomerate Reliance Industries and will expand American jobs along with other economic prospects. It's because of America's first agenda, streamlining permits, lowering taxes that have attracted billions of dollars in deals back to our nation. Trump said a new refinery at the port of Brownsville will fuel U.S. markets, strengthen national security, boost American energy production, deliver billions of dollars in economic impact, and will be the cleanest refinery in the world. Yeah, remember he talked about Venezuela. They don't always have the cleanest refined oil there. They have old systems there that need to have to be updated, replaced. That's why a lot of the oil cartel supposedly is going in there to fix this up in some way. And so whatever we get, we'll be able to refine here. I understand how this is playing out. And so you're seeing a lot of these different articles and discussions in some way to soften the blow. And, I'm not really seeing too many people freaking out about it. I think a lot of people are bracing the impact because they're hearing it's a short-term, let's just say, increase for a long-term gain. And people, I think, are comfortable with that in some way. No long protracted war. He's giving a time frame, and I think all the way up until Easter I heard someone say something like that this is going to come an end. But here's the thing. This is the worst scenario, I think, for Israel. I can tell you right now, because if we walk away, all right, what's going to be left? Are we going to turn to them and say, what are you going to do now? Are you going to be in charge of doing all these other things? And do we want them to be blowing shit up all over the place and continue this on? I don't think so, right? So what does that mean? What's the end game for us when we leave? Does that mean Israel stops, or we turn to them and say, you're in charge of doing all this other stuff? I can't imagine that's the case. I can't imagine we would put them in a position unless they decide they feel like we have to take it a step further and want to go gonzo here. And if they go gonzo here, it's too late for them. And I think the blowback will be finished, and we'll cover that. Nacian says, when do we know to be worried? No one knows what's really going on. I agree with you. I think there is elements. That's what I'm trying to say, is that with the AI, with the amount of the war on the truth, with the discussions that are taking place, the videos, the feeds, all this stuff, you can make that argument with the Ukraine war. I mean, does anybody have a real understanding of the Ukraine war? Have you seen anything to suggest that the war is ending? No, you haven't seen anything. You don't know anything about that war. I basically just whitewashed that all away. It's over there somewhere. If it's happening, so be it. If it's not happening, well, then what are we talking about here? What's really going on? I think in some way, your point is valid, because we all want to structurally understand that they're hitting this, and a lot of the video feeds and images that are coming through are real, but a lot of them that we've seen are popping up for the propagandists and the people to profit on X. So we're not really sure what we can decipher, what we can discern from. And that is, I think, also a little scary. I mean, President Trump tells us every day that this is coming to an end. We've obliterated them. I mean, and then you hear an article, you see stuff. The tanks were hit, 47 ships were sunk, all the mining ships were sunk. All these, we're hearing stuff every other day. The news puts up something, President Trump cuts it down. They've dropped something else, the news cut. Like, for example, the biggest thing that's out there is that we're told that we're going to get hit, that we're going to get a blowback from Iranian guards or people that are, let's just put it this way, that are working with the cartels over the border. Some of them are probably here in the United States, and we're going to get some blowback of terrorism based upon the war. I don't know where that we should turn to or think about. I mean, I think what took place in New York is suspect. I really have a problem with these two clowns, and they actually found these two young kids, these teenagers. They found a stash house, warehouse, where they had bomb-making material and other stuff ready to go. All right? And the question is, where did they get the money and the material? Apparently, one of them, it comes from a wealthy family and stuff. How is this person supplied? There's a lot of stuff we just don't know about, and we're just playing catch-up at the moment, Marshall.
Yeah, back to the article about the refinery opening is huge. People don't realize how big this is. At $300 billion that's a massive refinery plant.
Mm-hmm.
Biggest, probably the best, like he said, the best in the world. Yes, it will be. No, it's not. It is going to be going to be under construction. I already looked into that. It's not built. But the fact that, as you mentioned, the speculators,
mm-hmm.
the minute you say that you've got the contracts done, dotted line signed, and they are beginning construction now of this $300 billion behemoth, the speculators are going to be, that's going to change the numbers. It's going to reduce the oil prices just with the fact that it's being done. So, and that's speculation. When they see this, they're like, wait a minute. Well, we can't get that.
Well, that's how the hedge funders work. They bet on futures, and they bet on all these things. They take all these things into consideration. They bet on it short and long. And that's how the price is basically marketed out there. That's mostly marketed out there. And then from there, based upon how many people, I mean, think about it. I mean, nobody ever realized and found out who were the people that were shorting all the stocks during 9/11 and all the airlines. Have we found out about that? No, we never found out about that. I wonder why that is, because they knew it was an inside job. And since they knew about it, they can't tell anybody. And the question is, those who knew will never say anything, or they're already dead. Consider that. We don't know. Here's another thing that Marshall sent me that goes to the point of what we're saying, that really, if you think about it, you can actually bring the speculators in here in regards to this. Secretary Burgum confirms, what is he, the Interior Secretary, confirms $100 million gold shipment from Venezuela. Now, the question is, why would they send us, Brett? The actors and politicians were flying to Ukraine so they can get all the money, auto pen, sent that all the U.S. citizens paid for. True that. Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of that were LLCs, all the money that was come back. Lindsey Graham apparently is under investigation for one. He's one of these actors, paid politicians, that's under investigation right now for, let's just say, improperly moving funds around from Ukraine into his PAC and his campaign funds from an LLC. Look that up. You'll find that out to be very real. That's why he's out there pom-poming every day with the bloodlust. He thinks in some way, if he does that, maybe the dogs of war will be called off on him. I doubt it. So the U.S. Secretary Doug Burgum on Sunday confirmed a $100 million gold shipment from Venezuela arrived to the United States on Friday, days after he met with acting President Delcy Rodriguez. It's a very odd thing. Why would they give us $100 million in a gold shipment? Fox News Sunday briefing to discuss the surge in oil prices amid the ongoing war in the Middle East and other energy-related topics. Speaking on the subject of Venezuela's collaboration with the U.S. under Rodriguez following the January arrest of dictator Maduro, Burgum highlighted that the collaboration now extends to critical minerals in addition to oil and gas, pointing out that South American nation has $500 billion worth of gold resources. Wow. In addition to other critical minerals such as borax, aluminum, and coal. I think that's how you pronounce it. Borax. Well, it started on Friday. In addition to the oil and gas, we signed the first licenses for critical minerals to start flowing and precious minerals. Burgum told Fox News on Friday there was $100 million in gold that came from Venezuela to the United States, that both for industrial purposes as well as commercial uses. Are you buying that? I don't buy that one bit. I think this was stolen gold. And thing is, you think they can tell us that it was stolen and that we're recapturing it back? Think about what he's saying here. On $100 million of gold came from Venezuela to the United States for both industrial purposes as well as commercial uses. Do you understand that? Burgum traveled to Caracas last week to meet with Rodriguez and other interim regime officials as part of the United States' efforts to establish a legitimate mining sector in Venezuela and secure critical mineral supply chains. Venezuelan state-owned broadcaster reported that at the time, both countries agreed to establish a long-term productive partnership with the emphasis on energy as an area of cooperation during Burgum's visit. I bet you this money was a payment, okay? Not because of Dominion, not because of Smartmatic, because of their involvement, possibly. And are we trying to soften the blow with them? Are we extracting this gold from them and all these other things so the American government in some way doesn't have to release the information regarding that Venezuela was in charge of flipping our votes in 20? Will that come out anyway? Probably. It should. So I wonder what this down payment of money is. I wonder what this is. This is a good faith payment in some way. Is this more of the same that's going to be coming from Venezuela to the United States as payback for what they've done? It's possible. But when you hear this cooperation during the visit, partnership, long-term productive partnership, the Interior Secretary explained to Fox News that Venezuela's socialist lawmakers are expected to introduce reforms to the nation's mining sector on Monday, allowing foreign investment into the sector. And so when we're down here this week with both oil and gas executives from the United States and top mining executives, these folks are excited about getting back to Venezuela. They were often there before in the past. They're often there in the past. And look, here, I missed that part. yeah, this is a great opportunity, but they were both there in the past to see a great opportunity. Burgum said. All right. My question is this. We're in charge in Venezuela. All right. So the vice president or the acting president is allowed to do all this stuff. What are we doing here? Have they surrendered? Have they capitulated? I mean, they're talking like terms like there was an agreement, a partnership, and now they're paying us $100 million in gold. Quite extraordinary, Marshall. I mean, this is a very odd thing. And we're also splitting up the oil where the money is going to be dispersed to the people in Venezuela, and we're going to keep another, 3 million barrels or 3 million, I think it was 3 million barrels out of the 6 million or something like that. There's going to be a split there. But this is $500 billion worth of gold resources, and now we're going to have inroads in this. Yeah, that's
the part I'm looking at.
Gold resources. Do you understand? Mining gold. Mining gold.
That's a 500 billion. I think that there's a lot more to this than just 100 million.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. And there's something odd and off here. And this payment is for something.
Says, it's over. I mean, to me, it's over with them.
Well, it's over with them. They're basically have capitulated. They have to pay out. They're basically being forced, if they want to maintain whatever they have at the moment, they're being forced to pay up for the penalty of what they've done. And I still believe the reckoning of Venezuela is coming because all these oil companies are going to come in there and they're going to just take over. I don't know what the percentage they're going to get off of it. I don't know if they're going to split it in some way. But it seems to me a lot of resources are going to come out of Venezuela because they have no choice. And those resources are going to go to the United States. And then what we're going to do with it from those resources, we're going to share them with the rest of the world? No, we're going to charge. We're going to charge. Everybody's going to be lining up to what? Instead of Venezuela, they're going to be coming to us. Wow. I mean, another article that I think just went completely over today because of all the, the oddities that are just percolating all over the place. But that was an excellent article. And the question, again, no one's asking this question with so many things that are uncertain, so many things that you consider a war on truth or that's fake, that's not real, that you can't in some way decipher what's real or not. To me, that is a realistic picture of a country capitulating, all right, for everything that they have in order to stay and maintain whatever resource or power they want to hold on to. I mean, I'm not really sure that how we see Venezuela is what's really being reported in another way. We're allowing this person to stay in power in some way. We killed all these Cuban guards. They might have been under the thumb. That's why Cuba's next. There is something there that I can't put my finger on, but it's something odd that's different from Iran. It's going to be more like Cuba, okay? But all the money, all the wealth, all the resources that were being taken and stolen, all right, by the cabal, the globalists in general, for their own personal rewards and gains, are now going to come to the United States, Marshall.
Well, the thing is, you didn't hear a word. The majority of the people have no idea about this. Mm-hmm. About this gold that was just given to us. And I think you mentioned it earlier, I believe. I think this is somewhat of a deposit. It's like a down payment.
A down payment for what? Yeah. What is it a down payment for? Is it for good faith? Is it a good faith down payment? You know what I'm saying? There are good faith down payments, ladies and gentlemen. You do that when you're renting or if you're buying. They're called good faith down payments. Is this part of an upfront surrender in some way, or are they basically? I mean, I think that's what it is. I think you have to look at it in that context. Again, we're just trying to glean the information as we're perceiving it and as we're reading it. But there's something more than that. In some way, when President Trump was saying today, we won everywhere. We won all over the place. And we're not even done yet. I can't wait for Cuba. I cannot wait. We're going to cover that tonight.
Well, and they see this. They see this, Brett. That's right. The big thing.
Well, that's the thing. They see the propaganda, too. They see what's going on and thing. Cuba is not going to fall like Iran. I mean, they're not. There'll be an agreement. There'll be something that the transition and step down from power. Right? They're running out of money. They have no energy. They have no resources. They got nothing. No one is helping them. There's actually an embargo that is now increasingly going on that you're not seeing. I've seen some video footage from that. I've seen other stuff that's happening. So if you think the embargo is now from the United States, that means no country is allowed to work with them, deal with them, trade with them, help them out. They're off limits. So they're on their own. Venezuela was their only resource of revenue, of money, of oil, of anything. And at this point, it's done. Thea, thank you for the can. Super D for the cookie. Curious Cat for the cookie. You were late. Trusty Turnip gifted the cookie. Gas prices still higher than last year after Taterhead Joe. Short-term pain for long-term gain to eradicate evil. Yeah, and I think that all the people that are bitching and moaning and stuff like that. I mean, I don't really care. I mean, at this point, do what we need to do. Let's get it over with. And you know what? Build up our infrastructure. So one day that our gas, maybe next year, our gas will be $1.50. You know what? I'm hoping to see that. And you know what? I can wait. It's okay. Thea, thank you for the 300 gold pills and the cookie. All right, let's continue on. Like, share, and subscribe. Drop us a gold pill. Comments, questions, and concerns if you want to help out Marshall. Ko-fi.com/surfdog74. Let's show you this. Now, I was asking the question earlier. MJ Truth put this out about this in some way. What's going to happen when we leave and we're done? We're finished with Iran. Get the people to do this. Where does this Netanyahu, where does this Israel, let's just say, backstop happen? Do they take over? What are we seeing here? President Trump put this out. Why would President Trump share a clip stating Netanyahu is a deep, dark son of a bitch who's gotten us into endless wars? Listen to this.
They actually hear from grown-up reporters who are lying through their teeth or ignorant beyond imagining that, oh, the war in Syria, yes, Russia intervened in Syria. Well, do you know that that Obama tasked the CIA to overthrow the Syrian government starting 4 years before Russia intervened? What kind of nonsense is that? And how many times did the New York Times report on Operation Timber Sycamore, which was the presidential order to the CIA to overthrow Bashar al-Assad? 3 times in 10 years. This is not democracy. This is a game. And it's a game of narrative. Why did the U.S. invade Iraq in 2003? Well, first of all, it was completely phony pretenses. It wasn't, oh, we were so strong. They didn't have weapons of mass destruction. They actually did focus groups in the fall of 2002 to find out what would sell that war to the American people. Abe Schultzke, if you want to know the name of the PR genius. They did focus groups on the war. They wanted the war all the time. They had to figure out how to sell the war to the American people, how to scare the shit out of the American people. It was a phony war. Where did that war come from? You know what? It's quite surprising. That war came from Netanyahu, actually.
Ooh.
It's weird. And the way it is that Netanyahu had from 1995 onward the theory that the only way we're going to get rid of Hamas and Hezbollah is by toppling the governments that support them. That's Iraq, Syria, and Iran. And the guy's nothing if not obsessive. And he's still trying to get us to fight Iran this day, this week. He's a deep, dark son of a bitch, sorry to tell you, because he's gotten us into endless wars, and because of the power of all of this in the U.S. politics, he's gotten his way. But that war was totally phony. So what is this democracy versus dictatorship? Come on. These are not even sensible terms.
It's odd that President Trump would share that video, all right, regarding this about Netanyahu, that what I guess Jeffrey Sachs is explaining about, because he's the one calling him this, a deep, dark son of a bitch. But President Trump is sharing that video. Do you think it's odd that he's sharing it for no reason, no apparent reason? Are we about to see something in the next month regarding Israel and Netanyahu after this war is done? If we walk away from this war and it's over and we try to get the people of Iran to take back their country in some way, what is going to happen thereafter? I ask you that. What is going to happen in some way? And President Trump is like, yeah, we're done. And Israel turns around and says, no, you're not done. You will continue doing this. No, we're done. What is the reaction? What are they going to do? I know Tom and I discussed some of it yesterday. Some people saying some of all fears. We talked about the Seymour Hersh book, the Samson option. Is he done? Is he finished? Is his time up? Netanyahu. What say you, Marshall? I don't know why this would be put out there in some way. If he always speaks so highly, he's my friend, all these wonderful things, platitudes that he pours out all the time about him, that the president of Israel, Herzog, should pardon him. All these things. And then this comes out. Blows me away.
The fact that this guy, Jeffrey Sachs, and he ain't just nobody.
No, he's not a nobody.
You look at that last name, you know who he is.
Mm-hmm.
This guy knows what's up. And the fact that he said this shit on tape, on video, incredible. I saw that and I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And then the other one is.
And being highlighted by President Trump simultaneously.
He posted it.
Yeah.
And I want to say to all you people that have been saying, all you panicans and all you black pillars, Trump is a sellout. He's an operative for Israel. Blah, blah. Guess what? You're getting ready to eat a bag of dicks. Hate to say that, excuse my language, but they're getting ready to eat it, man. And they are going to eat. They got egg all over their face, and they don't know it, but it's.
I'll show you a video with Erdogan, the president of Turkey, and he had some choice words about Bibi at the end of this. Yeah. Yeah, because I've heard a lot of people from Israel say we need to hit Turkey. These people are crazy.
Fuck him, man.
These people are crazy. It never ends with these people. There is not a war that an Israeli, or anybody in the Israeli government does not want. It's not. It's just it has to come to an end in some way. And you're seeing leaders across this that are being part of this peace plan are all saying the same thing. When does it end? When does it end with him? When does it end with others? So Trump tells Axios there's practically nothing left to target in Iran. This came out this morning, and this was a big thing. A lot of people were covering this. A lot of people were throwing this out. Trump told Axios in a brief interview that the war with Iran will end soon. Now he's throwing that out there for the speculators for the gas, the oil, all that stuff. That's being thrown out there. So we don't tip the point back to over $100 a barrel. That's why he's doing it. Is the war going to come to an end by April? We're told by Easter. You know what? If there's nothing left to hit, then what is left to go on? Maybe the clandestine operations that are taking place on the ground. Yes, they are. Why it matters, even Trump publicly signals his operation has largely accomplished its objectives. U.S. and Israeli officials say there's no internal directive on when the fighting might stop. Israeli Defense Minister Katz said Wednesday the war will continue without any time limit for as long as necessary until we achieve all the objectives and decisively win the campaign. You notice how they say we, meaning them. Israeli and U.S. officials say they are preparing for at least 2 more weeks of strikes. Trump himself declined to specify a timeline when the war will end. See, Trump is thinking long-term in this way for a lot of different other reasons, all right? He's playing something else. He's playing hardball over here and saying, all right, by the end of March, first week, that's what he's given. And he's trying to make sure that the American public knows it. He understands that we're in an election year. He understands that there are other things that are mitigating right now. And by putting that out there, we are ratcheting out the noise and stuff and saying, all right, objective achieved. There's no boots on the ground. Supposedly there's no this, no that. And we can move on about this. So on Tuesday, the U.S. received intelligence that suggested Iran started laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's critical choke points. Officials say it was unclear how many mines Iran had deployed, but the assessment is that the number is very small. Trump confirmed to Axios that the strikes on Tuesday destroyed 16 mine-laying boats. See, you notice how that is. So the media was putting out late last night and then early today, and then CENTCOM commander Admiral Brad Cooper said it in a video message Wednesday that the U.S. military is meant to eliminate Iran's ability to project power and harass shipping in the Strait. So the next level of focus is to make sure that the Strait of Hormuz is protected because we are insuring all these ships. We have now, as President Trump said, because Lloyd's of London, they failed. They screwed up miserably. And now they want to get back in the game. And Trump's like, no, you can't get back in the game. It's too late. It's too late. We're doing it. We're controlling it. We're going to have ownership of this thing. I think that's the next step, that we're going to control this. We're going to have a Navy contingent there in some way, making sure that the ships will be able to pass through without any damages, and any other interruptions that Iran continues to do, they're just going to be saddled with being destroyed. And it doesn't matter if they move their stuff into elementary schools or hospitals like Hamas does in some way, they're going to be targeted. I know the agitprop today was about the school. The media wants to gin this up and say, hey, look, you know what? You hit a school, just admit it, own it. And President Trump's like, I know nothing about it. And it's smart to say I know nothing about it because he's not there directing the war. His generals, his Secretary of War is there doing it. So if it's under investigation, it's under investigation. Why is the media trying to put a spin on this in some way? They have no problem, okay, with Hamas and Israel when Hamas does that, and then Israel hits them. They have no problem, and people get that called out all the time. But why about this now? They're trying to say, well, we're killing children, killing women and stuff like that, and they want to put an end to the war. They want to hurt every opportunity about this. They want to take away from the feel-good aspects of the United States winning, and that's the bottom line. That's always about what it always turns out to be. The media is just the lapdog to what? Undercut everything that, let's put it this way, is positive that we're doing right now. That's the ultimate game. The war is going great. We're way ahead of the timetable. We've done more damage than we need. And here we go. 6-week period. Okay. And you know what? Look, I understand the idea that a lot of people who couldn't handle, they have like 5-year-old mentalities, 5th grader mentalities, short-term, let's just say ADHD. They can't handle the fact is, well, what happens if it goes longer than 5 or 6 weeks and stuff? That's why President Trump is putting that out there. So all those people could put it in their head, at least let it sink in. Well, this is coming to an end. It's all coming to an end, and it's all dying down, so everybody can calm down. But I think it's more than that. It's more economic based. It's more about oil and gas. It's the long-term futures. That's what it's for. All right. It's to make sure everybody is calm, cool, and collected going forward. G. Westbury, the reason the war in Iraq happened was because Saddam Hussein found ancient Babylon. The first thing the military did was to raid the museums of Iraq. I've heard that many times. I guess that was the thing regarding Gilgamesh. Yes. I heard about that. I've also heard Stargates. I don't know if that's verified, Marshall. I don't know if you can verify that at all, but so be it.
Yeah, I mean, I look, I understand Darla said that, that they own us. I respectfully disagree now. I think that's over. Israel does not have any control over us at all now.
No, I don't think so.
They've lost their shit. Bibi's on his, I agree with Thea. Bibi's on his way out.
Yeah.
I almost feel like these assholes, excuse me, sorry, ladies and gents. I almost feel like all these people, somebody mentioned earlier in the chat, that they're all heading to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't be surprising to me because they don't belong there in the first place.
Right.
It was never their spot. They took it. They didn't conquer it. They just kind of, but we'll see. I mean, they'll probably, the state will probably still be there, but
Super D thinking so too. Just hard to know the boss's cards. Yep. I understand. Israel playing war with our money. Yeah, absolutely. You have to consider all this, but I think that there is going to be a falling out.
Yeah, it's
a separation, and we're going to see it. We're made to see this. That's why you're getting the eventual thing. They're going to screw up so royally when Trump says the war is over, all right, and then we walk away and they do something stupid. That's what's going to take place, and that's where it's going to gin up a lot of blowback. I think that could happen. Or we walk away and that's it, and then he's done. Whatever happens, happens.
We're letting them walk into this.
If they, it's possible. Walk into what though? We don't know. We don't know what they're going to walk into. But they're. I mean, look, honestly, they're bloodlust like for Lindsey Graham. If it's anything like that, and he's the new face of Israel, as far as I'm concerned, with their bloodlust wars, then you can expect something that's going to happen that's going to trigger a massive blowback. So let's move on. All right, more than 300 TSA officers or agents have quit since the latest shutdown began as Americans face travel chaos. Okay, look, I don't want to poo-poo on people losing their jobs and stuff like that, but I have a problem with the TSA overall. I think since 9/11, this ridiculous thing that's been put in place and stuff was problematic to begin with. It sits under the Department of Homeland Agency. The shutdown's going on, 24 days right now, 23 days. Around 50,000 employees will be required to work without pay to the end of the shutdown, according to internal TSA statistics. So 300 people quit. Okay, that's fine. So what? I mean, would you want to work and not get paid? I mean, honestly, I wouldn't.
They're pieces of shit, though.
I mean, honestly, and look, this is not the military. This is not police officers. We're talking TSA agents. Okay.
Welfare program.
Okay, exactly. I mean, it's. I don't even want to get into the nonsensical debate about TSA. TSA officer call-out rates have rocketed in double-digit percentages at some airports. This is why we need to privatize the airports. We need to privatize the FAA. I mean, in some way, there should be a privatization in there. You should have companies come in there and have their own private companies with all this stuff, with the new technologies, new stuff, and replace the TSA. This is a bloated project since 9/11 in 2003 under this department, which is a joke. It's embarrassing, and it's failed miserably. It really has, and I'm sick of it. The review internal transportation security administration statistics have found that employee separations reached 305. The data suggested 50,000 employees would be required to work without pay, which began on February 14th. Okay, so we're almost in a month. All right, TSA Administrator John Pistola told the network nearly 1,100 security officers resigned after the 2025 shutdown. Wow. If the current department closure drags on, he believes more staff could leave. The shutdown could even make it harder to recruit new officers, Pistola added. He says his applicants could question taking a job where they work without pay. I mean, honestly, would you want to work without being paid? I mean, this happens when you work for the federal government. All right? You're at their beck and call. All right? So anytime there's a shutdown or anything, and this is what the Democrats are doing, they're simultaneously undercutting the Department of Homeland Secretary of the agency. They wanted her out. She's out. Okay? You wanted Lewandowski out. He's out. You wanted to make reforms regarding ICE and all this stuff? Well, there were. But now you don't want to capitulate anymore. You want this, you want that. It's never good enough for these people. So that's why they shut this down. Okay? Wait till you think what's going to happen when you get a new director for this agency. When the senator comes in, Wayne Mullen. All right? He's going to be what? He's going to be crushing skulls. It's going to be totally different. And the fact that we find out that her department had serious breaches, that they were tracking her and all this information, they were hacking all the databases, all this information that came out that she reported in some way. Did she get a fair share in this? No, he's moving her over.
She did.
Okay. Whether or not that you believe she got a fair shake in this or not, it's irrelevant. Were there lapses here and there? Yeah. I mean, you got rid of Greg Bovino. He was a fucking hero, what he was doing over there. So yeah. I have problems on both ends. Okay, the way that she handled the questions against Senator Kennedy and many other people, I think caused problematic. Was she too glitzy for this job in some way? That's why they called her the Ice Barbie in some way. But overall, they got what they wanted. She was cutthroat in this. Okay, she was utilizing this agency as well as they could be utilized. And the question is, at the end of the day, the buck didn't stop with her. And her attitude wasn't my fault. I wasn't there. And I think ultimately people started to see the rancor and discontent. So whatever happens, gone. But the Democrats who shut this down are setting us up for a failure, for a major attack in this country. And you know what? If it happens at an airport because you're not going to have any TSA officers, or let's just put it this way, there's going to be a lapse in the amount of people that are able to cover ships in some way. Well, there you go. That's going to be on them. It's going to be all on them. And everybody's going to point this out. Well, because you didn't want to fund this up, because you don't like the idea that that the reforms that have been made or the provisions because of ICE, you want what? You want some type of documentation. This is what the Democrats want. Ultimately, they want documentation to showcase that our ICE agents going to be around during the election around polls. Yeah, they are. They're just not going to tell you that. They're going to be quietly around these polling places to make sure there's no grift and graft and theft and thievery and more fraud over our elections, Marshall.
Well, I'll say one thing about Kristi Noem. She's now the lady from The Diplomat.
Mhm.
She's in control of the whole Western Hemisphere. I mean, she is in control of a map. I mean, I think it's pretty cool because he had the Shield of the Americas meeting with
Yeah.
all those presidents and leaders from the South American and Central American countries, and then the TSA. They're a bunch of worthless son of a bitch. All they do is molest people. I mean, it's really disgusting.
Allegedly.
It's a bunch of no
You gotta be
good
careful with that.
blacks.
I
What's
don't want
that?
to be sued. Allegedly.
Okay, well, all right.
Yeah. But
All right,
yeah,
well,
there's
all they do
there's
is-
been a lot of things where a lot of people have been arrested for certain well, you got to
They
be
steal
careful. You
people's-
just
a lot of them steal stuff, and that's verified.
well, yeah, there's no doubt about it. They're
Screw them.
still yeah, yeah, I don't like the
stand
TSA either. So I don't really care if people want to quit because they're not getting paid for their job. That means the ones that are there are going to be upticking on the thievery, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
David Hansen put this out. He was baffled by Kristi Noem. I'm going to show you this. Look at her. This was 2012, and this is her now. Okay, but he goes, I think she was a congressional representative before she became a governor. I saw a picture in 2015, something with a husband. He explained. She had no makeup on. She was kind of a shag haircut, short haircut, fresh face. They were very intimate. I don't mean in the sexual sense, but close. She looked happy. She looked unaffected. And to see her today with those long extensions and facial surgery, it's sad. And she was a very effective governor. Yes, she was. Don't ever forget that. She was very popular too. And he said, so something happened. And that happened might something connected with her prominence, money. I don't know what it was, attention, but she needs to get back to her original roots as a Dakotan and a family, wife, kids, etc. I think that was important that he was laying that out. Something happened. And then we get into this reason that people like her in Dakota is she's represented for Dakota values. Maybe she still does. I hope she does with her family, her husband, nuclear family, farm, ranching. Hansen said, but then with Corey Lewandowski, she kind of morphed into an urban creature. And then these accusations that she was having an affair, whether they're true or not, doesn't matter. But a lot of people were suggesting this in some way. Somebody should have said to her, look, I know you want a high profile coverage. I know you want bombastic language, but that's the president, not you. You're his servant, he added. So what do you want to do is scale back, travel, wear plain clothes, or just wear workman-like clothes that reflect what you're doing. Interesting take. I think he's highlighting. I think that was part of the issue that she was representing of herself for an agency of this magnitude, and also utilizing a budget of $250 million that they spent $240 million of it. So again, a lot of stuff that was off the mark. And I don't want to be too hard, but I think there's some, let's just say, justification in what he's making there, Marshall.
I really, her mistake was, the tryst that she had with Corey Lewandowski.
Yeah, allegedly. I mean, we don't know if it's true.
Well, she needs to dip out of that guy.
Yeah.
I think she's good to go. The hair extension thing. Did he have to say that? I doubt
plastic
that.
surgery. I mean, thank you,
that
for the 1400.
Still, that's kind of catty, man.
It is catty, but he's basically saying is that
she changed. I get that.
He goes, you were very popular at your job as governor. Where is that Kristi Noem that was overseeing this agency?
I think
what got to your head? I think that's what he was saying.
She needs to dip away from that guy. And I think that's
Geritol with a splash of crown.
Yeah, they're joking me about because I made fun of it. Because I'm getting spicy.
What's going on?
I'm dropping the F-bomb. They said my jar is full of my swear word jar is full and all that shit.
You're cursing a lot. Let's tone it down.
Not too. Come on, man. Get out of here.
I know.
See, now you all got bread on me.
I know. I just, all right. Anyway, let's continue. President Trump today says U.S. military started obliterating 28 mine ships. This was today. He was in Cincinnati.
They started talking about mines.
Company.
We hit 28 mine ships as of this moment, 28. Using the same weapon, the exact same weapon that we use against the drug dealers in the water. We have, as an example, we had tremendous drugs pouring in through the water, through the sea. and now we have almost none. It's down 97% through water. Now we'll do it through land. The land is easier than water. They started talking about mines, so.
I mean, he's just giving an update. He's at a pharmaceutical company taking pictures and stuff, and he's talking about the war. People are asking. Okay, let's move on. We're going to fast track this because we're coming up to the 9 o'clock hour. All right, we're going to speedway through this. This hit the internet, hit X everywhere. People are like, what the hell is going on? I don't know what's going on. But again, another discussion of AI being involved. This is what I'm saying. It also goes back to what we saw at the DHS agents, the females with the ponytails during the Butler shooting. Okay, think about that with the Butler rally and the Butler shooting. So President Trump's Secret Service agent looks 12. All right. Oh boy, I want to be careful at the onset of not judging a book by its cover, but maybe I should say joke. Okay, this is getting out of hand. Developing President Trump's Secret Service going viral. You could see this full video. She looks pretty badass. It's likely she's a young-looking face, good genes, but don't make the mistake of judging a book by its cover. 2, I'm concerned with the Beast rolling into a gas station. Doesn't the president have a whole team that travels with them? The Beast only assumed that the extra brought extra fuel with them. No, he was there for a Venezuelan.
Yeah, he owns a shit place.
Yeah, a Venezuelan restaurant place.
Gas station, right.
Yeah, owns all this stuff. So he was there in Doral, and so he stopped by. In fact, I would venture to go as far as the question was this a decoy Beast and decoy POTUS? Good point. Third, I agree with all these comments. She may look 21, but I bet she put at least 15 center mass. There was some good commentary and stuff like that. Remember this, at least she's not fat and unhealthy looking like the pictures of the FBI women we saw or DHS. That was a good point. I just think in some way, yes, if you see this picture, she looks very, very young. The way it came off in some way. And so, again, this screams the same type of thing. Is this just another artifice? Look over here, not over there type of scenario. Are we not seeing the bigger picture with everything? This is a real picture. It's not AI generated. All right. The question is, was this a dupe though? Was this a plan in some way? Again, I speculate about what we know, what we don't know, what we see, what we don't see. I mean, she could have been a very young-looking 20-something, okay? I mean, no doubt about it. But it does draw attention because every time POTUS is around, you see him with men that are over 6 feet tall, that are big, that are brawly. So in some way, when you see a young girl like that or young woman, lady, that's there protecting POTUS, you often wonder, is that the right person that is outside shielding the president in some way? It brings back Butler. It screams Butler. And that's why I was like, hair on fire.
Well, she wasn't part of the personal detail, though.
No, she wasn't.
Personal detail is right up there. She's on it. And the first thing I thought, when I saw this, I was like, oh, my God, they're doing this shit again. And then I thought about it. I'm like, is this another Hannah?
Right.
You ever seen that movie, Hannah?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Y'all haven't seen that movie, Hannah. I tell you what.
Well, it's a TV series. Wasn't it a TV series? Then a movie.
But the movie was incredible.
The movie was good, but I like the TV series.
Oh,
I like the TV series.
I thought the movie was great, man.
Yeah.
The whistling guy following.
No, I don't give it. Go watch it. But they made 2. I think they made 2. They made a series and they made a movie. But it's good.
It was great.
Man. It was great. The movie's great. Marshall's right. Is that Greta? Is it?
Well, and then the liberals, Brett, they were all over this. Oh, he likes them young and all this shit. The twin. Yeah. Oh my God! I'm like, you people you just don't. This is all you got. Yeah, that's all you got.
It just reminded me of Butler. That's all. And I'm like, and what I'm saying is, it's not. Forget about the way she looks and her age and stuff like that. Pretty young girl, Secret Service agent, hopefully a good shot. I'm just saying, was she also a decoy? Was she also a plant, a stage? You know what I'm saying? In some way. And that's what just made me, question everything that I see. And again, I question a lot of things, and I just don't let things fly over my head without like, okay, this is just an odd thing. I'm not really sure where this plays in, but I mean, Secret Service is recruiting a lot of people. Maybe she's head of the class. Maybe she's a great shot. I don't know. Trump won gift of the cookie. Good evening to you. Listen to this. Shout out Ezra. Former DHS acting secretary Chad Wolf warns that a terrorist threat in America is the worst it's ever been. Wow. The worst it's ever been. There are over 18,000 terrorists currently inside the United States. 18,000.
Network here in America.
Well, it's bad, right? We talked about 4 years of the Biden administration. So over the course of 4 years, you had over 11 to 12 million individuals come into the United States. Over 18,000 known or suspected terrorists, right? The National Counterterrorism Center just testified about that. Over 18,000 known or suspected terrorists tried to enter the country during Joe Biden's tenure, and a variety of them made it in. And so you combine that with the existing networks of Hamas, Hezbollah, and other proxies that have been here in the United States since the 80s, more or less. And
on a scale of 1 to 10, YouTube, Pilled, Rumble, let me know where you are with a terrorist attack happening, a major terrorist attack happening on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being 0 or 1 being the lowest, obviously 10 being the highest. Let me know in the chat. Thank you, Thea, for the 600 gold pills. Let's continue.
It starts to paint a picture of a real kind of heightened risk and threat environment. Now, we have an outstanding law enforcement apparatus, FBI, Joint Terrorism Task Forces, and other things that keep the American people safe, but we're asking so much of them because we don't know who really is in the country. Because I said it at the time, and I think we're facing it right now, is the 4 years of the Biden administration, we won't really know the destructive nature of their immigration policies for years and years to come. And I think we are staring down the barrel of that right now.
I think so. I think we're going to have one, only not to underscore how many people were allowed to sneak in the back door. How many terrorists that they're saying? 18,000. There's more than that. How many people, how many more devastating attacks, how much defunding by the Democrats is going to change our trajectory? And what if we move into a situation where we'll have to put a pause on things? Time out, President Trump in some way, in some of these areas, martial law. I'm not implying that. What I'm saying is that how bad is it going to get for us to see some really batshit scary stuff pop off in order for President Trump to go to the next level? What's the next level? Blame it on the Democrats for not, obviously. Blame it on Joe Biden for allowing all these people in there. Blame it on the current Democrats for ICE and not removing people quicker. That's going to be back up. And it's actually going to put the fear of God in people right now as we're in election season, saying, these are the people you want to vote for? Good luck, because they're not there to protect you. All right? They're there for what? To replace you and have the illegals vote on your behalf. That's the point. That is the total point. Think about this. I saw a video footage of a meme and it had like 50-gallon cannons on the border and all this stuff, a swamp with alligators, and it said in the caption, this is what Democrats would set up if illegals were voting for Republicans. They had turrets out there and tank. I mean, honestly, it's true. It's true. We're going to get to this level. We're going to get to this level, and this is all going to be exposed this year because it's going to get that ugly. So, yes, on a scale of 0 to 10, since I'm the only one doing it, it's going to be a 10 that I'm saying that we're going to have a massive, not a 9/11 style attack, but enough that is going to, I think, shake a lot of people. And I'm not saying one attack. I'm saying multiple attacks. That's what I believe.
It's also possible that some of them can be contained or already kind of staged to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that. So, I think a lot of them are already known. They're already biometrically tracked.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you got to just be. I wouldn't go to big concerts and big events with a bunch of people.
No.
That's probably not a good idea. So
you know what? I don't know if I'm more concerned about infrastructure, facilities, nuclear power plants, energy bridges, energy conduits. I think these targets are going to be really where it's going to be. I mean, blowing up, shooting up at a concert and stuff like that. Yeah, I think something a little bit more germane, a political event that might be bigger and stuff. I mean, we see school shootings all the time, but a lot of people just kind of roll their eyes over it and I'm like, oh, another trans shooter. Right. I think it's got to be something a little bit more. You might see buildings, political buildings, federal buildings, things like that. So Top War puts us out. U.S. Attorney General secretly moved to a military base in D.C. due to threats. Listen to this. There was a couple articles from different places, but I like this one. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, the New York Times, has learned secretly left her apartment and moved to a military base outside Washington. Sounds ominous, doesn't it? The reason is threats from drug cartels, as well as a wave of criticism that has engulfed Bondi since the intensification of the investigation into the high-profile case of financier Jeffrey Epstein. Wow. See, there's a lot of people pissed off about her because she feels that she's covering for people. They're not indicting enough people. They're not going far enough. And they're saying this is what's promulgating this. Officially, the move explained by concerns from federal law enforcement agencies who received information about impending attacks. The Drug Enforcement Administration warned the Attorney General's office of real risk. But behind these statements lies something more. The Epstein scandal. Wow. Which has entangled the American elites for decades and has entered a new phase. A congressional committee, I've read 5 articles all about this. Not one of them except this puts Epstein in there. So that's why I wanted to read this. A congressional committee has already summoned Bondi to a closed hearing demanding an investigative report and the publication of materials that many influential people would prefer to keep buried forever in the archives. Notably, Pam Bondi isn't the only high-ranking official to trade civilian housing for barracks. The military base in Washington is now home to President Trump's top advisor, Stephen Miller, Marco Rubio, Homeland Security Kristi Noem, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. Wow. The question of who exactly is threatening top officials in the United States, Mexican drug cartels, which I believe are more likely than disgruntled Epstein people. But unless it's the Epstein people that have not been exposed and they're really big people that have inroads into the government, are dissatisfied with the progress of the Epstein investigation or some shadowy structures within the American elite itself, it remains open. I thought that was an interesting way of them breaking this down in some way. We don't know who's who. Maybe some people are disgruntled because of the Epstein information hasn't come out, or is it actually people that are directly connected with this and they're putting pressure not to let this information out in some way? I mean, there's no indictments. There's nothing out there in some way. Is it more likely cartels and stuff and illegals? Yeah, I would say that you could put it all together as one big thing. But I thought that was quietly removed from our apartment. So obviously there might have been threats. We just don't know about it. They're not reporting it. But you know what? All the people that want to get rid of Pam Bondi, all the doomers, all the people, they're not doing nothing. They're doing nothing and stuff. This is why I'm saying these people are so far off base. If she wasn't doing anything and was useless, she wouldn't be threatened in this matter. Do you understand that? She wouldn't be threatened in any way.
Oh, that's right.
And you are the people who put a target on her back. Yep. Was Pam Bondi the poltergeist girl? No.
Actually, that girl, that's sad what happened to her. I mean,
yeah, the storyline about that.
She was abused really bad. Man.
She was abused. No, she does look like her in some way.
I don't mean to say that. Yeah, but she's above the target, and she is. Something is. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Bondi is. We are moving into another phase, I believe. That's getting more serious, and that's why he's got. I mean, I don't ever remember any president that had his cabinet, on military bases like this. I mean, I don't remember ever hearing about that. Have you? I mean, I haven't. I don't know. It's not that I haven't. It's been really highlighted, and the fact that we're hearing this in some way tells me that there's going to be an event that's going to happen. Yeah. And so these heads of these agencies, the State Department, Homeland Security. I mean, look at the agencies, Department of War, and AG. I mean, basically that's the underpinning of his cabinet. And she's not even going to be there anymore. No, she's moving to that other position overseeing the West. What's it called now? Oh God, it's a long name, but I've looked into it and it's very cool. We should do a little bit on that, but he did the whole, Southern or Western what did they call it? the hemispheric security, the shield of the Americas. That's what it's
Shield of the
called.
Americas. Okay.
Yeah, and he did it on a Saturday, so everybody kind of missed.
It reminds
the
me
whole
of Shield
thing.
from Marvel. It's kind of like Shield from Marvel in
Yeah,
some
I mean,
way.
yeah, it was very cool, and it's
Yeah.
sad that they did it, that it got missed because it was on a Saturday, and I watched it,
Yeah.
and it was very cool. I mean, he had all.
You know the
these-
one president that wasn't there? Shinebomb. Shinebox.
I noticed that. Yes.
Shinebox. And then she comes out. There's old, I don't know if it's old videos or new videos saying, I have protected the cartels from President Trump. I mean,
yeah, and she's up there hanging out with them. She's got pictures with the cartel guys.
yeah.
She's been isolated now.
Yep.
The Shield of the America group is isolated.
No, she's going to be dethroned. She's going to be defrocked.
Or
She's going to be
whatever.
running for her
Maybe
life.
worse.
She's
Yeah.
going to have mattress bed sheets tied together, crawling down from the third floor of her mansion. Oh, yes. All right. Running scared because she knows when joint operations go in, and she has no say in this. Look out. They're going to come headhunting to her. Thank you, Wood USA, for the 717 gold pills and your support. Need more gold pill love. Support the boys stream. Let's effing go. Thank you so much. Let's continue on. This is the other part of the show. The border gag, dial it down. This is what I was trying to say. I got a couple articles on this, and then we'll move forward. The White House tells House GOP to avoid mass deportation talk ahead of midterms. Wow. Now, I could say this by refraining from the narrative or discussion to deporting dangerous criminals first because the mass label is toxic. I get that. But to highlight the enforcement is ongoing and not bragging about it on a large scale, because it's not it's not well received. Well, who's it not well received from? I mean, everybody in MAGA is receiving it well. It's the problem is it's attracting too much attention. And so the White House, apparently, this is true, has told GOP members to dial it down. The White House and top Republican officials have told GOP members to avoid discussing mass deportations ahead of the midterms. That does not sit well with voters, with MAGA. I don't know how that helps them. Backing away from the public discussion of a central campaign pledge of President Trump. The advice hit Republican prospects appear dim ahead of the November voting. While Republican members of Congress gathered in Doral for a retreat Tuesday, White House Deputy Chief of Staff James Blair and Representative Lisa C. McClain, the chair of the House Republican Conference, instructed them to eschew talking about sweeping. Eschew means dial it down, basically slow your roll on talking about sweeping deportations of undocumented people. Instead, focus on own deportations of violent criminals, according to 3 people with knowledge of the remarks who spoke on condition of anonymity, of course, because they were not authorized to speak publicly at the closed-door event. Wow. Trump ran on this pledge, enacting mass deportations, vowing to launch the largest deportation in the history of our country. At one point on the campaign trail, he told Time magazine he planned to deport 15 to 20 million undocumented immigrants. I'll stop there at the moment, and then I'll continue on. Now, if we're going to have I hope we don't have a mass casualty event. But if we have terrorist attacks in this country, due to these undocumented illegal criminal aliens, terrorists that snuck in 15 to 20 million people, I guarantee you right now, and you multiply these attacks over a course of time that continue on and on and on until we get to the point of like, we're going to have to shut everything down. Martial law, we're going to lock these states down. You're going to see National Guard, what have you, brought out. That could happen. It could possibly happen. And then the ramp up of all this stuff will be massive. Then you'll start using the National Guard and the military, all right, as a buffer, working with ICE and other law enforcement agencies to remove as many people as possible that they have on a list that they're going to get. And then no one is going to be bitching and moaning. There's not going to be Karens in the fucking street or anybody trying to ram their cars and stop this, because they will stand down or they'll have bullets shot at their face or their car trying to do anything unwise. Here it is. The president himself has since tiptoed away from the plan, all times calling for protections for undocumented hospitality and agricultural workers, suggesting that the administration first focus on deporting people who committed violent crimes. Yes, Blair told the crowd they should not focus on highlighting the administration's removal of criminals, according to 2 people present, and explained that there was a greater public support for doing so than for mass deportations. Wow. I don't know if these people misspoke, if they told them Was this directly conveyed from the White House, from the administration, Susie Wiles in general? I can't imagine President Trump telling them. But in any case, if this was said in some way, this is a slap in the face. But I also think the dial it back attitude at the moment might be because we're going to see a fear of reprisal due to all the terrorist activities that might tick back up. And so letting lie low for now to breathe, while we all know what took place in Minnesota is going to pop right back up, but tenfold. And then people will be demanding we get rid of all these fucking people. Yep, I'm serious. And then things are going to be exercised a lot more rigidly. All right. People are going to be coming out swinging. You're going to see a lot more than just ICE agents, federal agents. You're going to see National Guard, maybe in military, help removing the criminal, let's just say masterminds, all the terrorists, 18,000. That's insane. That's insane, Marshall. Pretty much insane, but I think that's what we're setting this up for.
I wouldn't worry about this bluff, this bluster with this wording and all that. Worrying about talking about getting rid of don't talk about mass deportations. What the hell is that all about?
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. You don't want to go blustering around right before the election,
bragging
but does
about
that
it.
really? Yeah, but does that really affect it?
No.
I think it's beginning to shift to where it makes it even a positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because you look at the EU, just today, I believe it was just today, they just had a big with the EU conservative group that's in charge at the EU. They're like, we're getting rid of these people.
Right.
In my own words. But they just did that today. And I'm like, I think we are seeing a massive shift that people are tired of being flooded with these third world people that are coming in and just destroying your little towns and your neighborhoods. It's like, get the hell out of here.
Yep.
Go back to your country, rebuild it, do what you can. That's your deal. But don't come here and screw up what we got and then live off welfare off of us.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know if these two people were told directly to say this or quiet this down in some way, because the big fight on the Hill. I mean, if you really think about it, it's the perfect time to talk about it because DHS is being defunded as we speak. The Democrats are not voting. There's nobody working, and so people aren't getting paid in Homeland Security under this, ridiculous amount of just like pushback by the Democrats. I think showcasing what the Democrats, I think what they're doing is they're playing their hand. I know it's a long game in some way, but I think they're playing the long hand in some way that, look, if an actual attack happens, multiple attacks, we've already seen a shit ton happening, but more, and something pops off far greater, then I think the noise will ratchet back up and they'll be able to pinpoint how this was done, goes to the Biden administration of the Democrats, and then you'll see people in full blast shouting, we need to remove all these people. Here's another reason why people should be talking about this and not hiding this. Center of Immigration Studies, Jessica Vaughn, on the burden of illegal aliens on taxpayers. Over 60% of illegal headed households are using at least one form of a welfare program. Wow.
Typically have other policies that attract illegal settlement and thus burden taxpayers with support of illegal immigrants. Besides funding emergency health care and schooling for all, a number of sanctuary states go farther and choose to provide Medicaid, subsidized health insurance, nutrition assistance, housing, and much more. Illegal immigrants use these welfare programs in large numbers. My organization has found that over 60% of illegal alien-headed households are using at least one form of welfare program, and usually more than one, at a cost of tens of billions of dollars to taxpayers. This is why any resources spent on immigration enforcement actually save taxpayer money in the long run.
Wow. Look at the responses here. Look at this. My bill would end welfare for non-citizens. We need this bill brought to the vote. Okay. Make them easy to find. Stop giving them benefits and they'll deport themselves. This is funny. David Politis absolutely makes me vomit. Our social security system is insolvent in the years ahead, and we're supporting illegals. Big question, why isn't ICE using the data to grab and deport them? Look at these questions. States that provide health care to undocumented migrants. These are great comments here and stuff. D.C. is 12 square miles bordered by reality. Washington is a pool of money surrounded by people who want some. I saw something else in here that was pretty good. Maybe it was deleted. Here it is. Wake up. 43% of all food stamps are given to illegals. 95% of all warrants issued for murder in Los Angeles are for illegals. Wow. Less than 2% of illegals are picking crops, but 41% are on welfare. More than 66% of all births in California are to illegals on Medi-Cal. 60% of all HUD occupant properties in the U.S. are illegal. 39% of California students are illegal. 75% of Los Angeles most wanted criminals are illegals. 50% of all gang members are illegals. U.S. taxpayers are footing the bill. I agree with you, Tracer C4. I'm tired of the toning down rhetoric. I don't know where who these people are suggesting they tone this down. I think that's not a good move. I understand threading the needle here for this at this point, but this should be used as something as a plenary discussion for everybody. If you're in these districts that people voted for this, 84% of American citizens voted for President Trump to do this. And the idea that you got to dial it back, slow walk this, it's not good. It's not good at all. And I don't like it either. I don't like it either. And I don't know if these people had an opportunity. I don't know if these people were told to do this. Do they do this on their own? So we don't have the information to suggest that we know one way or another to be certain that it directly came from Susie Wiles, the White House, or anything. It's quite possible they decided to say this on their own behest in some way to hurt the administration or what? I don't know. I don't know what bright idea genius thought that up. But I guess right now with everything that's happening and what has taken place, that the subject is too hot to handle, too cold to hold, so to speak.
You know what, Brett? I mean, you went through those stats with the illegal immigrants. The really sad thing and it's just horrible, is the fact that 50% of legal immigrants are on some form of welfare. Think about that. These are legal immigrants that come here, and 50% of them are on some form of welfare. Why are we allowing any legal immigrant to come into our country and get on welfare? Why is that happening? Somebody needs to do something about that shit, because that really pisses me. You know, they say, "Oh, you're legal. You're legal. You're legally here," but you're taking welfare. Why? That should be illegal. You should not be allowed to immigrate into our country and all of a sudden live on the dole. That's just absurd. 50%. Y'all need to think about that one. That's just saying. All
right, I'm going to go through real quickly the most ludicrous stuff that I've seen today, and you're going to hear it. I'm just going to spell this out. Cornyn drops an ad over Paxson, and I was right. I said it's probably he's not going to endorse either one of these people. He's going to let MAGA sort it out, and it's smart. It is totally smart. Let MAGA sort it out. Don't endorse either one and see who wins. That's the perfect way. Don't support either one. All right. I mean, Cornyn's got a lot of problems. I don't know if he's there's suggestions and talk that he's part of this slush fund of funds that he used to pay off somebody that he sexually assaulted or something he did improper that was being generated around. That's why they didn't pass that in the House that Nancy Mace tried to get about the Congress's slush fund, about releasing all the names and the information regarding that. But they're not going to tell us that. They're not, but it's odd. Cornyn drops a panic attack ad claiming Paxton stole a $1,000 Montblanc pen. This is where it gets ludicrous. The Cornyn campaign ad heavily focused on the biblical theme of 10 Commandments with a booming godlike baritone voice bellowing, "Thou shalt not steal," after claiming Paxton stole a $1,000 Montblanc pen, citing a 23 New York Times article. All right. Instead, the incident, which occurred in 2008, 2013, saw attorney Joe Joplin leaving a Mont Blanc pen in a tray, and he rushed through the courthouse. Sometime after, Paxton also passed through the security and mistakenly picked up the pen along with other items he had placed in the tray. After the courthouse security realized the error and contacted Paxton, the Mont Blanc pen was returned to Joplin. Notably, and perhaps lost on the Cornyn campaign, is the 9th commandment: thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. I'm not going to read any more of it, but this is how ridiculous the desperation from coming from the Cornyn campaign, talking about a stolen pen of a Mont Blanc pen that was returned, that was inadvertently taken when asked to return. It's embarrassing in some way. And I thought the jibes going back and forth regarding the 9th Amendment and biblical discussions about thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. It's just crazy. I don't believe that bullshit. I don't believe what bullshit. Okay.
You know what Paxton should say? He should say, "You have a click of my bic."
Yeah.
Remember that commercial?
Yeah. I mean,
so
honestly,
dumb.
he returns the pen, and this thing happened 13 years ago. And you're going to make a campaign ad about this.
Did he rape it?
He didn't steal. Look, yeah, is it grand larceny to steal a Mont Blanc pen? Well, if it's $1,000, yeah, it's $1,000 or more. But he returned the pen with an apology, and they made an ad in some way to say that he's a thief. But the pen was returned. Even the guy Joplin made a comment saying, "Yeah, he returned the pen with an apology."
I think he should make it part of his campaign.
Yeah, I think so. He should go out and buy a Mont Blanc pen, put his name on it, put Ken Paxton's name, have it autographed in there, and sign shit with it. Here's my pen. He should do that. Here's my Mont Blanc pen.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
blast
saying?
it in them. Yeah, blast
that would be
right
fun. And then run that out left and right. I got my Mont Blanc pen. Where's yours? I mean, that is just
Come on.
Yeah, it's just the most ridiculous thing. Here we go. We're going to move forward with this. One of the most ridiculous things I've heard so far today. That was one of them. Here's another one. Parody, Jeff. Rabbi Mizrahi mocks Jesus. Oh, what a shocker here. Listen to this nonsense.
You are worship a dead man that was killed by the Romans. They crucified him and he couldn't even save himself. You expect him to come and save you and save the world? After 2,000 years, you really that stupid? And then you come and say, "Oh, the Jews killed our God." How can you?
He's basically mocking Christianity, mocking Jesus' death, calling us stupid, ignorant. But we can't say anything about these people. You cannot hate these people more than anything else in the world. I think next to illegal criminal alien scum, I look at these people, these bagels, just one notch below them. I'm just disgusted when I see this stuff.
Kill a God. You're not normal? Okay, so some goyim, they're waking up. Wait a minute. How am I was taught to believe in someone that was killed by people? Jews, non-Jews, it's not relevant. People killed him. If he was divine in any way, who can kill a divine creature? It's not possible. In 1 second, kill all of them. The fact that he couldn't beg for his life, "Help me, no, don't kill me," that means he's completely unable to do anything. That's enough.
He begged for his life. Wow. I'm not going to play this anymore because I might do something rash or say something rash. But when I see these people,
sick.
I mean, honestly, you know what? Bullshit. I can't wait for the fallout. What's going to happen with Israel? I really can't. Netanyahu, these people should make you sick. Should make you sick. And we're going to see how bad this nonsense. They mock Christianity, mock Catholicism, mock your religion. They say, "Oh, he's a god. He could do anything he wants." And then he begs for his life. God. Can you believe that this is how they think? And the Goyim are waking up. My God. Yep. Parasites. They're beyond parasites. They are bloodsuckers. I saw what's his name? Mark Levin attacking what's her name? Carrie Perrine, the Catholic, because she's going to be on Tucker Carlson. And then Mark Levin calls her a piece of shit, mocking her religion. There's no doubt about it. When I look at, he is the epitome of why people hate Jews and Israel. He is. He's exactly who they are because you mock other religions. You call her a piece of shit and trash her religion. And you wonder why we feel the way we do. And I don't want to hear all these other people that are, trust me, bro, I'm MAGA and I don't care about the Israeli thing or the Jew thing. Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah,
trust me, bro, MAGA and stuff, bros, or all you think you're smarter than everybody else. There are people that do give a fuck about that. And you know what? They're damn straight and right about it. And they're never going to get the fuck off that subject because you know what? They're sick of that. You just don't want to see it and talk about it because you don't think it's a big deal. But it is a big deal.
Whether the truth comes out about the whole Holocaust.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
people
honestly,
start finding out about the Holodomor.
I'm done with that
which
shit.
most
dude.
people don't even know about the Holodomor.
Yeah.
It's disgusting.
It's just disgusting when you hear stuff like that.
Sick fucking people, man.
Yep. President Trump appoints. Here's another crazy story. Can you believe this one? President Trump appoints Erica Kirk to the Air Force Academy Board of Visitors. What in the fucking name is going on? What qualification does this broad have to sit there on the Defense Department? Erica Kirk has been appointed to the Air Force Academy Board, where she will keep and help advise the Defense Department on issues affecting the Academy. I don't know what she has to do to affect the Academy. I don't know what qualification. The appointment is not as random as it might first seem. Erica is filling Charlie Smart, which he previously held. Oh, okay. Since he's dead, we'll replace it with the wife. Erica appoints Erica Kirk to the Department of Defense position. Erica will fill her late husband's seat on this academy. Above, I stated that her ties to the Air Force are now deepening, but some of you may not know what I mean. Turns out that while we're all told that Erica was just a stay-at-home Christian housewife who never dated anyone before Charlie, the truth is she led a wild and incredible life before meeting Charlie, a life that has deep ties to the U.S. Air Force, especially Fort Huachuca. Wow. Erica Kirk's France, November 28, 1988, is the widow of Kirk. Current chairwoman, CEO of Turning Point, former Miss Arizona, founder of nonprofit podcaster, Midweek Rise Up, proclaimed faith-based clothing line owner, real estate agent, biblical studies, PhD candidate. She holds a BA in political science, international relations, Arizona State University, a Juris Master in American legal studies at Liberty, and played NCAA Division II. Raised Catholic in Scottsdale. She has no personal military service. Her ties to the Air Force and Fort Huachuca. Huachuca? Is that how you pronounce it? Huachuca. U.S. Army Intelligence Center of Excellence, Sierra Vista, Arizona, are primarily through appointments, family businesses, contracts, charity partnerships, entertainment work, and unverified public claims and allegations. Okay. This is all the stuff. Pageant, military recognition, indirect connection with Kirk, summary. I don't know. I'm just, okay, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what we're living through. Is this something real? Is this a war on the truth? I mean, are we trying to how are we supposed to process that right now? Let's put this up.
She's going to have an OnlyFans site to get him to recruit him.
I know.
Flash her boobs a little.
I have no idea.
Come on in and join the show. Come on, be an Air Force guy.
Yeah, she's gonna rock back and
Check
forth
out my boobs.
on a missile, on a J
I got
dam.
boobies.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I mean, Erica's past is bona
That
fide
is
lie.
funny as shit, though.
Couldn't agree more. And the fact that she gets elevated, continues to get elevated and propagated in so many ways.
There's a reason for it. Man.
There's a reason for it. There's totally a reason for it, but you're not to know what that reason is, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll find out later.
There's AI slop with the Terminator going back in time, blasting Judas and Pontius Pilate. I saw that saving Jesus every time, but Jesus kept telling him it's supposed to happen this way. He was protecting Jesus. Yes, that was a yes. It's supposed to happen. There are things that are supposed to happen. There are things that happen for a reason. Okay, remember that. What's wrong with President Trump? He just opens the door and invites his enemies in. That I have a huge problem with that. I don't know what to make of.
Play along with it. Play along with it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, don't bother scratching your head about it. I've given up a long time ago about everything Erica Kirk. And obviously, she's a grieving widow. So in between her takes about rocking back and forth on one of these J dams to take a picture, she'll be breathlessly crying. Trump big statement on Cuba, says Cuba is in its last moments. Added Marco Rubio, handle it, joking, take 2 days off. He's going to be the new governor of Venezuela. Of Cuba. I mean, this is going to be great. Listen.
Cuba's a disaster.
No
But
shit.
I've been
it
hearing
is.
so much about Cuba. But Cuba is in its last moments of life, as it was. It'll have a great new life, but it's in its last moments of life the way it is. And but our focus right now is on Iran, and we'll do that. I would say, what will you do? Take about 2 days off, Marco? No, he won't. Maybe an hour. He'll take 1 hour off, and then he'll finish up a deal on Cuba. That'll be an easy one. But it'll be the entire region that we're doing that. Many of you have come today and they say, I hope you can take care of Cuba because you've had problems with Cuba, right? You mentioned, I've been hearing it.
Cuba's going to be an eye-opening experience, as I said last night, that you're going to see what it is, what communism is, okay? What communism is, where did it come from, who started it. You're going to understand the Bolshevik Revolution. You're going to understand how it eats and rots at the soul, the spirituality. It crushes everything. The life force of Cuba, all right, and what it's done to that country for 67 years. Once that nut is open and we get to experience not just 90 miles off the coast of Florida of how bad it's been and what has been done, all right, then we will be able to have a better, let's just say, understanding. So everybody now in some contextual refinement will be shown this and say, hey, Mondami or anybody else that supports any of these batshit crazy ideologies and thoughts and stuff like that will be what? Crushed. They will be crushed. People will get a bird's eye view of what socialism is, Marxism, communism, it all in one full swoop. And everybody that has joined to that ideology will be crushed in so many ways. Tracer C4, you said what? Well, Jesus Christ sacrificed himself for even you. You're talking about that Rabbi Puke Stain. Who's that Puke? Some rabbi, some piece of shit. Who gives a fuck? I mean, it doesn't matter. Most of those people are going to burn anyway. And who cares? I mean, honestly, Marshall, your thoughts about that? I mean, what do you think? I mean, I got more about Cuba, but
yeah, Cuba.
I'm big on this Cuba thing. I think it has so much more potentiality of affecting the United States in so many different ways. Not just trade, not just saying it's going to show everybody what we're fighting. Shows this.
That's why the Shield of America's coalition is so big.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very excited about this, Brett. Go ahead, man.
I am too. The promises that will be, let's just say, utilized here, the promising events, the fallout of these events will highlight to everybody once and for all that this batshit ideology, this messed up, disgusting philosophy that was, let's just promulgated by Karl Marx and then has now expanded out to socialism and communist ideals that have come from a certain group of people, and we know who those people are. What do you think the Bolshevik Revolution started on the Jews? I mean, so when you really get to the heart of this is going to crush a lot of people. It's going to crush a lot of thoughts and a lot of opinions. And maybe these stupid young people, all right, who voted for Mondami will have a wake-up call realizing, yeah, you want free this, free that, free. This is what breadlines are. This is when people have no jobs. This is what happens when people have no toilets. This is no health care. You have nothing. Communism is the illusion of that you think you're going to get something for free. In fact, you get nothing at all. You lose everything, even your soul. Trump is making Cuba an offer it can't refuse. The Cuban regime is a mix of genetocracy, terocracy, nepotism, and socialism. It's basically a genealogy of theocratic and not theocratic, autocratic establishments. An official face is President Miguel Diaz-Canel, but supreme authority still emanates from a 94-year-old Raul Castro, the brother of Fidel Castro, the state's founding dictator. Though the long-lived Castro clan seems to prove only the good die young, no one beats the acatarial tables in the end, and Raul's days are drawing short. Cuba's overdue. I mean, does anybody know if he's still alive? That's the other thing. For a profound change, Trump is determined to bring it about, and it's been a lifelong goal of Cuban American who now serves as Secretary of the State to what Trump and Marco Rubio planned. Would exactly like the operation captured in Venezuela? I don't know. I'm not saying that, or like the obliteration of Ayatollah Khomeini. They might make an agreement. They might make a deal. We're going to go in and pluck them out. I mean, that's not going to do anything. Senior staff. I mean, I think what they're looking at here, but Cuban officials have seen just how far Trump administration is willing to go. I think they're going to surrender. That's my opinion. Or they're going to make sure that they step down. There's an exit stage right, and that the United States government will come in as Trump is using economic leverage to bring Havana around. The Cuban government is talking with us, and they're in big trouble. They know they're in big trouble. They're going to have to make a deal in some way. Give up the reins of power. Let us come in. Let us take over. Let us eventually annex this. I think that's what's going to happen.
I think it's going to be, yeah.
I think that's the only way. The only way for them to survive, all right, is that way. I don't think there's any other way. So I think they're going to try and make this as peaceful as possible. They're going to have to lay down their arms. I don't know what's going to happen first, but you have to think about the humanitarian problems, the infrastructure, the ports, militarily, the embargo in general, opening up everything. You have to get American companies in there. A whole host of things has to be done in order for this country to snap back at any moment.
You know, I'm excited about it, Cuba. I mentioned that a minute ago. I think that, like you mentioned, that Cuba should become a territory of the United States. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think so
I think
too.
it should happen. They're only 90 miles off the coast. It's got to
Well,
happen.
it's all conditional part. What happens? Do they step down? Do they tell their people we're, whatever we need? I mean, how is this? I mean, that is what the number one thing I want to see is how the transition happens. Because I don't want to see it militarily. I don't want it to go that level.
No,
but if it has to go that level, it does.
I don't think it will.
I don't think so either. I think they're being forced into capitulating because they know their time is up, and they might be able to dip out and say go before their people gets to them. That's the other thing, because if they know the transition is going to happen, their people will rise up and overthrow them and try to kill them. So I have a feeling that they might be out the door right away. Yeah, land Marco on a tank to roll in.
and you know what, Brett? There's a couple of good surf spots in Cuba too.
Yeah. There's some shitty weather going down there.
Take a surf trip down there.
Yeah. All right. So here we are. Turkish President Erdogan on Netanyahu. This is the last craziest thing, but and I'll drop the pills. Even the Israeli public, who spend every night in shelters, are now openly saying that the greatest disaster to befall them since the Holocaust is Netanyahu. Wow.
Her geceyi sığınaklarda geçiren İsrail halkı bile Holocaust'tan sonra başlarına gelen en büyük felaketin Netanyahu olduğunu artık açıkça dile getirmektedir. Her geceyi
That's hardcore. Turkey's a part of NATO, and he's basically just called out Israel and said, you know what? Their time is up. Netanyahu is up, and they wish they never had him. Wow. That's just amazing. Just amazing theater that you're seeing. I mean, the fact that you're hearing that right now, because I've heard a couple of ambassadors say, Turkey's next. They're crazy. These people are nuts. They're bloodthirsty parasites. They haven't seen a war that, as long as the United States is involved, yeah, they always hide behind the big brother to protect them, because they think that, because they know they'll get their ass kicked on the playground. That's the bottom line. They'll get their ass kicked on the playground. Without us, they're finished. And I think that this is it. This is the last straw, that he's going to walk away, step away. Something is going to give. Something will take place. So hopefully we'll see. I mean,
Israel's on deck, I think. Israel is going to be on deck. It's coming.
I dropped the pills. So, yep. Hopefully that goes out. So, any final thoughts and stuff? But I mean, that's just crazy.
Everybody knows this is where we've all been headed towards this.
They've been starving in Cuba for a long time. Yeah. I mean, look, I can't imagine them not looking like us as greeting us as saviors.
They want us.
They need us. Yeah. I mean, honestly, think about it. No food, no medicine, they'll have it made.
No
electricity.
Man. Loving it, man.
Yeah. I mean, first you're going to have to deal with the transition, securing the region. You're going to make sure that they, disarm. That's the other thing, because you don't want some strays out there committing, crazy acts of violence onto, the Newfoundland that's coming. I mean, they should be greeting us like Christopher Columbus,
Yeah, they're looking forward to the brand new F-150s down there, man. They're
Oh
gonna
yeah.
love it.
Oh yeah.
They've been holding those cars together for a long time.
Yeah.
And they're
yeah.
beautiful old cars, but hey, come on. You got to
Yeah.
have some new vehicles down there.
Yeah. I mean, do they have even gas to put in those old cars? I mean,
Yeah,
think about
that's
that.
true. That's
Gas,
true.
batteries. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they have or don't have. I mean, it's just sad in some way. All right. Well, that's our show. We'll return on Friday. I want to thank everybody out there. Thank you for supporting the platform, for being here. Yeah, that's it. Be well, be safe, be smart. God bless, be well. And whatever you take away from what that rabbi said, you should think the opposite and think positive that, you know what, that you align yourself with Jesus Christ and God, and that those people, you know what, forget about them, because you know what, we're not going to have to deal with them. We're going to go a different place, and our future is bright. Remember that. Ciao.
Good night.